So I am going to start at the home screen just for a minute. So this session is an advanced session. I am assuming that if you're here, you've already created some things in Canva and you want to know how to do some more advanced things and see what Canva can do. So the first thing I'm going to show you creating is I'm actually going to make a moving image or a GIF or a GIF as you prefer. And so I do these a lot for use in other things. I like to make little moving images on my Google Slides. If I'm creating a slide presentation in Canva, I always have, another Canva tab open at like the logo size usually is a really good one for creating little GIFs or graphics to add into your slides presentation. So that was my plan. I'll start with the GIF. If I've got time to move a little bit into sort of creating a video, that's where I was thinking of going. And that was my plan. Unless you want to see something different, as I said, go ahead and pop it in the chat. If something comes up along the way and you're like, hey, how do you do this? Definitely let me know. And as I said, I'll do my best to show you and also to do my best to be all tied up by 2 o'clock. Because that's our time and our time is precious. I've got actually an old Canva presentation here. I did and I think it was last spring for the admin assistants. So I thought that would be a good place to start because I have just some of my favorite tips, tricks, maybe even hacks included in here. And so really heavy on the photo editing initially. If you were in my last session or if you've worked in Canva before, you're probably familiar with frames already. So that's one of my very favorite elements. The frames and the grids are excellent ways to just quickly format photos. So this here, it's not Friday today, but it feels like it, right? On the heels of a big long weekend. So Friday with some happy kids. These have photos in them already. When you have a photo in a frame, if you right click, you can detach that photo out of the frame. When I drag the photo over the frame, it's going to automatically pop in. With I can detach it. I'm just going to also show you that it's not actually necessary to detach it because I could just keep popping new photos into that frame until I'm happy with them. And it just overwrites the one that's there. So no need to take that image out unless I want this image somewhere else in the design in its current form. I can just leave them in there and keep popping images in until I'm happy. I showed this in the last session too, but just in case there's anybody new here, when you double click on a photo in a frame, it shows you the perspective of that whole photo. And this is how I can change what's appearing within that frame. So if I drag it, I can get just this gentleman in here, or I could drag it the other way and show the lady. I could also make it bigger and zoom right in on a specific part too. So this is just limited by the size of the photo. Lots of different shapes of frames. You could spend a long time just exploring all the neat photo frames that they have in there. This is an example of photos within a grid, and I wanted to use this one to actually show you some of the really cool photo editing tools that are available within Canva. I've been using it for a few years now. None of these existed previously. The background remover and the magic eraser came along first, and now they have continued to add to their magic photo editing collection. So you can see there's 6 different options in the Magic Studio for photos. So how I got there, if I have a photograph selected, let's just click on elements. If I choose a photo, this little edit image button pops up. When I click edit image, I get brought into the image editing toolbars here. There are 3 different tabs across the top. So this is our Magic Studio. Let's switch picture today. That's not a good one. I'm actually going to walk over to this full size photo and hit that edit image. So background remover is as it says. pretty obvious and actually pretty slick and quick. It moves a lot faster than it did when it was in its beta. So if you didn't catch that because it was so fast, on this photo, it knew right away to remove the sky. Now, once I've done the background remover, notice that this little button pops up in the middle of it. So it's automatically detected what it thinks is the background, but this is where I can go in and actually further edit with erasing or restoring. So I can, I don't know if that's white, if you can see that very well. So I could go in and decide that I want to also get rid of this tree, and I'm going to not being very neat about this. And it's going to allow me to erase. In the reverse, I can restore, see if I can get that roof line to come back. Or I decide, oh, I want this tree back, but then it's also bringing back in that blue sky. So that's their most basic. It works really well to grab, an object out of a photo, or like you say, it took the sky out of this one perfectly. But if I want to have a little bit more power, I can use the magic eraser. So I'm just, again, click on magic eraser. Now this, I don't have to be neat about. It's actually going to interpret the lines based on how I draw. So I can be a little bit sloppy, and let's see if it's going to remove this tree for me. Hit erase. Oh, it's taking a minute. It's really taking a minute. I don't think that would be so hard. Ensure my video is still running, and it is not, in fact, my internet that has gone down. Oh, no, it didn't do a nice job of that at all. Let's pick a better image. So that's actually a really good example. These magic tools are not perfect. They work really well, though. I am going to show you some good examples. So this one, let's see. I did something different with this before, but I'm going to try and erase the book out of her arms and see how it does. Interesting. Where's this? Oh, and I fixed these ones already too. All right. Sorry, folks. Give me a minute. So, back to searching. So many elements. As I said, I used this slideshow before, so I had already used this tool on that photo. So I'm just finding the same picture again, because I definitely want to show you properly how the magic eraser can be used. In this case, it works beautifully. Taking a bit of time. And there we go. As you can see, I cleared that up perfectly. This one, I'm not gonna mess around with more things. You guys can find some pictures and play with them. This picture, my kids from Disney, they weren't really thrilled, but there was a ton of people in the back of this photo, and that magic eraser actually moved them beautifully. And then same thing here, it had taken something out that was on the table. Now I want to go back to this one and show you even cooler things. So I'm on just a slide here. I'm getting some slide controls at the top. I always have to click on the photo I want to edit, and then hit edit image. And this one, we're going to try a magic edit. So first, I'm going to select what she's holding, which is some books. And again, with these magic edits, it doesn't expect you to be perfect when you're covering something. It's going to use some AI to also detect those edges it thinks that you're outlining. And then here I'm going to ask it to have her holding flowers instead and see what happens. Now, again, we are at the mercy of what the AI is going to do, and this is live. So I can't not be held responsible if the results aren't good, but I've seen this do really cool things before. Um, oh, so they gave her a picture of some flowers. Is keeping that square shape behind. Um, and this is pretty decent for a free photo editing tool, in my opinion. Magic Grab actually is just really similar to background remover, but I've already used background remover on her, but that would, as you can just see in the little image here, you roughly outline a shape and it's going to pull that out of the picture and you can move it around separately. So really similar to using a background remover, in my opinion. And then it can also recognize text. So that would be like within a photo. If you had an image that had some text in it, this would interpret those letters, run some OCR on it, and I'm just gonna click open the chat. You would have to put the like new foreground on a background, but I can show you how to do that. I'm not 100% sure on this one. I'm gonna just get rid of, I've got some extra stuff here. No, this does have a background, so let's have a look at that. So now she's holding some flowers. When I go to do bow, is it gonna, oh, it is. So it actually used to be that you couldn't use more than one of these tools on a photo. When I went, well, that's actually a huge improvement. So you didn't used to be able to magic edit and background remove. You would get a warning that it was going to delete your other tools. So with the background removed now, she's just a cutout figure. And then I can go into the backgrounds. So as with all of these buttons on the Elements toolbar, when I open in there, there's a bunch of different categories as well. So we've got abstract and food and textures. And then eventually it'll come down into all results. Here is a blurry hallway. That actually looks not bad. I could put her in a classroom. Once, if it's a photo background, you have the same options. So you can crop, you could zoom. I mentioned these, but didn't touch on them. So we were looking at the effects. There's an adjust tab, so I can do some basic adjustments here too. And then the effects is where the background removers and everything are. So whether I'm on a photo that's on the background or something that's in the foreground, I have these buttons, but you also have all of your abilities to just make slight adjustments to the photo as well. And then there's that crop tab. So I mentioned double clicking opens the crop tab as well, but that's what it's doing. It's really taking you into edit image and then into the crop. These smart crop buttons are great because it will automatically. And then the new expand is really cool. So the photo doesn't quite fill the slides. It can actually automatically create some extra of the background for you too. Now, I have not had much of a chance to play with that. I'd love to see some great examples of it too. That's a really neat thing. I think, does anybody have any other, want to see any of the other photos stuff specifically? So they've got, this stuff has been here prior to the magic edit. So again, there's like some basic filters that can be applied. I should also draw your attention to this one, transparency. So if I go on this background, I can make it a little bit more see-through. So if I really want to sort of just hide it away and make it barely there, this works with all photos and even videos actually. So the transparency button appears up top with the other sort of main slide buttons. All right, I'm gonna just slip down to, these are all examples. So this, I don't have these slides specifically available, but if you want these shortcuts, I can definitely make them available to you. These are just hotkeys that can be used within Canva to quickly do things. So just hitting, sure I'm selected on here, just hitting the L makes a line in the middle of the page, or pops me in a rectangle. Um, I went over this quite extensively in the last session when I click on shapes. So we've been looking at the photo editing. When we're using shapes, those editing buttons are up top. By default, all of the shapes are also text boxes. So when I click a shape, I have my shape editing options here, and then I also have my text editing options. And when I double click, then I am typing inside that shape. I can also put text over top of a shape if I want to be able to control a little bit more where it's going. So text boxes, shapes, lines, photos, those are your main elements for creating whatever it is that you're going to make. So now I am going to go ahead and start from scratch and make a GIF about, well, maybe about the end of the year. And I like presentation size. If it's something that's going to be viewed digitally, that's roughly computer monitor dimensions. So by creating a presentation, that doesn't mean I'm only creating a slides. I can export this out as a PDF. I can share it as export it into a PowerPoint and actually have it as a Google Slides. It could just be an image I'm making here. It could be a video or a moving image. So when I'm choosing to make a presentation, I'm really just choosing the size and the perspective. It opened me into the design tab. I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and work on this one on my own. So we're thinking about summer. So I'm going to do a search for summer. And then I'm going to jump into, I think first, the graphics. So when I clicked on graphics, it took me into my summer search for graphics, but it also still left all of those other categories up top. So I can click this little tiny arrow and quickly toggle between, say, audio or shapes or photos. This will all apply whatever I have searched here. So I'm going to click on this guy. Well, that looks good. Resize it. And then I want this to move. So as I say, I'm going to make a moving picture. I'm going to start with this up here in the upper right corner. And by my last frame, I'm going to have it down in the lower right-hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and build my whole first frame. When I do a search and get into graphics, photos, well, specifically, I'm going to talk about graphics right now. So in graphics, if we click the filters here, I can ask for a certain color palette. So if I want everything to match and be purple, I can, again, this is going to be purple things that come up under a summer search. I can also choose square, vertical, horizontal. This is why I'm here. So there's the opportunity to pull static or animated images. So if you're looking for some things that are moving around a little bit already, you can just turn that filter on and grab these animated images here. I'm going to grab this sun for now. So when I put this out, that's just going to sit there and live and move. With moving graphics, they're really great. They can be attention catching. They also are consuming a little bit of internet. So if you've got a slides presentation with a lot of GIFs in it, it's going to be slow loading. It can even be slow, going from slide to slide. So use in moderation where it can really have a good impact, or it's not going to be long. Now when I added the sun to the slide, this appeared up top here, this edit timing. Is now that there's something moving on here, it knows that there's going to be some animation. So this sun graphic must be 5.6 seconds long, or it's set to loop to be that long. So I'm actually going to just do something a bit different here. I'm going to bring this guy up, move him just a little bit. So if this is it, I just want to have this graphic somewhere else. I want that sun to be moving. This is the part where you want to look at that. So I'm going to make sure I've got the slide selected. If I click outside the slide, I've got nothing selected. All my toolbars disappear. I just need to click on the background, and then I've got the whole slide chosen. You can also drag right over it, and then it's giving me all my pictures. I want this. So by default, as I say, it's 5.6. So a good length for a GIF is anywhere from 3 to 6 seconds. You don't, if you can help going over 6 seconds, it's just going to make that file smaller and a little bit easier to work with. You shouldn't have as many issues with presentations not loading and such. I really like 3-second ones if it's something looping like this. You can make them as long as 20 seconds if there's a purpose for that. But as I said, the smaller they are, the smaller file size. They're just going to export quicker and then load quicker when we're using them. So I can click on this timing here and adjust how long this slide is. So I'm just going to slide it down to 3 seconds and then hit the share button. So we're not actually sharing, though designs in Canva can be shared just like you share designs in Google Drive. They don't automatically appear somewhere. You get an email invite and you have to click the link in the email to accept the invite. Otherwise, things that are shared with you can be a little tricky to find. I haven't done tons of collaborating in Canva myself. I'm generally creating things here that I'm taking out and using in a Google Slides or somewhere else. So when I click on share, it by default is actually opening the sharing. So there is, I'll draw your attention to a Google Classroom button here. So you can share things directly to Google Classroom with your students. If you click the assignment, now I didn't do the Google Classroom one to see if it does the same thing. It allows me to choose to do it as an assignment in Canva. So Canva does have a classroom interface. I have not played with that at all, aside from having my own child, I think, share one thing with me in there once. So there is a like kind of like an admin portal for teachers to have your students link to you within Canva. That would be Extra Teacher Advanced. If you go to that level, please sign up next year to do a session for others. Because I'm not sure I will have a chance to test out the whole classroom interface. It looks great. But to share to Google Classroom, I thought this was really cool, is it gives you the option to, so say this is something that's just a consumable, they're just going to read it. So you can say, just give them a published, click on it, and they can read it. And then it also has this new design for each student. So it's going to use that. I'm sure it's just using that piece in Google Classroom, but the Canva stuff will actually make a copy for each student if you post it through here to your Google Classroom. So you could actually create something that's a template for them to use. They could receive it in Google Classroom. It'll make that template copy for them, and they'll be able to edit it and turn it into you in Google Classroom too. So it actually filled the space in, Jane. If I'm not sure if I can, I don't think I can take that picture back without um just a sec. Yes, I should be able to. I'm gonna reset tools. This is actually probably a good advanced tip also. If you've changed a photo and you're looking to get it back to what it was. So there's the people. Now I'm just gonna hit on edit image again and try the magic eraser. So we're gonna get rid of this lady and these people here. And see how it does this. This was an older iteration of the tool too. I was more than impressed. So I think I just didn't quite get this guy. And you can erase and then go back in and do a little bit more too. So if it if it can, so you can see there, it did do a little bit of blurring. I'm going to see if I can just actually zoom in on that a little bit more for you. There is a little bit of a blurring here, but where it can, like this concrete pattern is easily identified and then replicated, I would say. So it did the best job, definitely, with the where the concrete was. That particularly that one, there was that one person kind of on the far left side that I was really impressed with. So even if you get to go fix your own photos with this could be worth it. It's nice to be able to get those people out of the background. If it's really busy or it's hard to tell what it is, then you might see a little bit more of that sort of blurring action where it's not able to figure out what should be there. Does anybody have any other questions? Got about 15 minutes. So sorry, I should have saved that. I just jumped right over. So back to this. If we are actually wanting to take this out and have that moving GIF, we're going to use it in a slides or in another Canva presentation. When I click the share button and hit download, it pops up to the download screen. It guesses what it thinks you want to save this as. So most often, if you have a few slides, especially if there's lots of moving things, this might pop up with a video suggestion. PDF is a very common suggestion, but you can, of course, click that and choose. So you've got two different types of PDFs. They clearly explain which is for which. One's better for digital, one's better for printing. It's really a file size thing. The standard will be a smaller file size. As I said, PowerPoint, you can export a whole Canva slideshow as a PowerPoint. You can import that into Google as a Google Slides, and it will actually recognize each of the individual assets. So if I did this slide in Google Slides, I would be able to move and resize this, and I would also be able to move and resize the other elements. If you're exporting as a PowerPoint. So yeah, it doesn't let you go directly to Google Slides, but you can do that other workaround. You can take it out as an MP4. I think their like time limit is like 2 hours. So as I say, you can actually create like a full length feature film using Canva for free. Really solid option for your students. And that's the same process really as building a GIF, which I am working slowly towards. So this export, I can export this one out as is. And as I say, so it's going to be 3 seconds long. Remember, I set that timer on the slide animation to be 3 seconds. So that's how long it's going to export out as. When you go to do a download, and this works for any of the types, except for, of course, the PowerPoint one, but whether it's or one of the image types, whether it's the PDF or the JPEG, also the GIFs, you have the ability to do some sizing changing here. So the default size, I chose the slides presentation, which is a widescreen computer monitor size. So I could actually make it down to 0.2 of that size as this download. So if I created it this size, but it's actually going to be shown, like on a quarter of a slide, then I'd want to take that out as a slightly smaller size. So images that are too small or too big come out blurry. That's one of my favorite things about Canva. So, recognizing that, that width that you're looking at, approximately 2000 pixels. If you want to reach all the way across a screen, use 800 as a nice round number for height. And then literally how big that picture's, if it's going to be on 1/10 of the screen, the image actually needs to be that size. If you take a 1920 by 1080 image and shrink it down, it will get blurry in the same way as if you take something that's as small as an icon and make it big, you're going to get blur. So by using the proper size canvases and then taking advantage of being able to actually resize. So this is one of the things that often my perfectionist nature, I'll download it and then I might, ooh, I want it just a little bit smaller, download it again to get just that sizing right. They also have this resize and magic switch, which allows you to resize this whole design. So for example, like business card is a default size also in here. That's a really nice handy size for graphics that are going to be used in something else. So I'll really often take something that it's in a presentation. Now I want to use that image somewhere. I can just resize it here by clicking some of the defaults. I can pick a custom size or like start clicking on these and opening up menus for, like, I want to resize it to an Instagram story. I've got, that would be somewhat square, and I've got this wide rectangle. It'll actually resize all the elements into that shape for you. And then when you go to do it, it actually, I'm just going to do this, hit continue. Before it does anything, it shows you what the preview of that new size is going to look like. So then here you can decide to actually change this original, or you can decide to copy it and make a new one in that size with the elements laid out that way. And then here it gave me a shortcut to that. So there is those on that dimension. So I like that for quickly changing size of things. So again, that export, we're downloading that out. I had this little toggle here, save downloading set. So that's why it automatically went back to the GIF format, because that's what I did last time, and the same size. So now let's say I want to do more with this. And this would be, I'm still just going to be making a GIF, but it could also be a video. So I'm just going to shrink this guy down. So this is something that you can easily do with your students too, or have them working on to teach them some animation skills and learn about how animations are frames and all of those kind of things. So I'm going to start by down on my page editor here at the bottom. I'm going to click on the little 3 dots that pop up on my first page here and hit duplicate page. So it's just done as, obviously I've asked it and duplicated the page. I've got those elements. Now I mentioned when I started this that I want this graphic to move throughout this process. So I'm going to use my arrow keys. So when you have elements highlighted, of course I could drag this to a new place, but I want it to have a little bit of a fluid motion. So I'm going to use the arrow keys when I'm setting these moves. So when I use my right arrow key, I don't know if you could even see that, it moved a very small amount. So this is the opposite of Google Slides. In Google Slides, if you use the arrow key, you'll get a fairly good sized jump. And then if you hold down the shift key, you'll get a small jump. In Canva, when you use the arrows, you get 1 pixel moves. So I'm going to just hit my arrow key over and over so you can see that actually moving. And it's going to not like me. So I'm actually going to delete this page now and reduplicate. When I hold down the shift key in Canva, then I get my bigger moves. So I went 1, 2, 3. I mean, that was 10. And then I'm going to duplicate and do that again. And so on and so forth until I get it where I want it. Okay, and that'll be enough to show what I'm doing. So now I have 4 sides or frames in my animation. Now, one little caveat here, and why I showed the moving animations. If you have slides, if you haven't chosen to create a video and you don't have anything moving, you won't be able to get this button to pop up. You can just put a moving graphic on your slides until the button pops up. You could take it away after, and then you will get these animation times. So clearly, if each of these frames lasts for 3 seconds, this is going to be a very chunky, not very interesting, smooth animation. So I need to go and change these to something much, much smaller than 3. I'm might second guess myself on. I'm going to go 0.03. So I'm entering this in rather than the timing slider is only going to let me go to 0. And then I want to tell it that I want all when I see. So 0.1 is the lowest I can go. I didn't think it was going to let me go more than a tenth. And then I'm going to apply it to all 4 pages. So now instead of them being 3 seconds a piece, they are going to roll at 0.1 seconds a piece. So if I take and hit share now, and then again, choose the GIF option. This would work to make a video also. I'm gonna go ahead and go with, oh, it's not gonna let me quite do half. So the transparent background option is here. However, GIFs do not come out with a transparent background. They will always have, in this case, it will be a white box. So just think about that. If you put it on a white, if it's a white box and it's going on a white slides background, it's going to look as though it's transparent, but there will be that box, even if it gives me this option here. With that said, unless they have changed things. So once I have indicated, yes, I want all 4 pages. Again, this is a default. It's automatically going to want to download all of your pages. If you are working like these are 4 different images you want to download, it will zip them even if it's just 2 pages. So I really often actually do them one at a time by going in and selecting which one I want to download. And that's just for the simplicity of not having to unzip the files after the fact. So either or, because I'm downloading this one as a single moving image, I'm going to leave them all toggled, of course. And then I can hit done. And I'm hoping this will process in time for this session to be done. It should. It's a pretty short one. So again, the more frames that you have involved, the longer it's going to be, then the longer that GIF might take to create. And I can already see some changes that I make to this. It's looping. And I didn't even, that 0.1 seconds, not enough for my little son to do its thing. But that's, again, this is where I often end up exporting things out more than one time. Unfortunately, can't really see that preview until, until you hit that download button. When you download things, as with all things on your computer, it goes into your downloads folder. There is not a special Canva folder that it will go into, so you should be able to find them in your downloads. Can we level pictures? You mean like, I think Thea, you mean like having actual animations on the, like you can do in like PowerPoint or slides. So I did not show that. So there are animations that can be applied to different elements. And then you could work through, just like in slides, if there was like a bunch of elements on here, you could have them come in one after the other. When I hover, it sort of shows what it would do. There's some speed options. I've actually not done a lot with, no, it won't stay animated as a PDF. That is a great question, Jane. So PDFs are printable, right? The GIFs will come out, and it will be actually a random selection of what that moving image looks like. Links will work in a PDF, but not the animation. So it won't, you want one picture, like you want each picture on, if you want each picture on its own slide, well, I mean, either way that you're going to do it, there is no automatic creation of a slideshow. If you just want individual photos to loop, I would actually use Google Photos. So if you put photos into an album in Google Photos and you click on the little three dots, it says start slideshow and it just loops. Beyond that, and with that said, I mean, there might be an app in Canva. So I will spend just a couple minutes. That was one thing for advanced users I definitely wanted to draw your attention to. And I meant to get into branding too, but it's okay. So there are a bunch of other apps that work within Canva. One of them I definitely want you to draw your attention to is Google Drive. So if you connect Google Drive to Canva, then you can access photos and things that you have in Drive directly rather than having to download them to your computer and upload them into Canva. So that's a really handy one. The DALL-E image creator. If you've played with ChatGPT at all, DALL-E is their image generator, and it is like by far the best one out there. So this is like where you can type in, create me a picture of a cat reading a book in the woods, and it will give you this like amazing graphic. So that's available right within Canva. Canva AI does run on the OpenAI model. So it is ChatGPT in the background of all of their AI stuff. So that one's there. And then there's some others. I don't know if Vivian's here or anybody from Lakedale, but Vivian had emailed me asking me about one that I used with the admin assistants. And I actually have it installed. So I've used this one here, Bulk Create. I think is really, really cool. So you can take a spreadsheet. So you've got your students. You can create up a template here. What the use case that we were looking at was actually to create like student awards. So you build like an awards, and actually I'll go just do it. So they have tons of templates in here. If you type a word, right? Oh, maybe not in this size, because I'm doing a slideshow. Anyways, I'm not going to waste. Anyways, bunch of word templates with bulk create. I don't know if you can see that here at the bottom of my thing. So it would be in the app. So if you've never used it, you go in there and find bulk create, do a search. Maybe it would be the easiest. Once you use them once, then they appear here on your left sidebar. So I could bring in a spreadsheet with a bunch of students. It would take that award template and make a copy for each student and put their names in the right spaces or any other information that's filled out in a CSV. So that's really cool. I'd recommend checking it out. I'm hoping to actually record a video on using that very soon because as I said, I had someone asking for it. So that's one app I have used. You can also link directly to YouTube in here if you're going to be creating things for students and you want to embed a YouTube video. It can be embedded right in a Google Slides presentation as well. Got a minute left. So yeah, that would be in the animations panel. Like I said, no, I have not worked with individually bringing photos in. I could do it as a sharing an image through. So you can, if you download it as an image, if it's a GIF specifically, like you can email out a GIF. My newsletters last year, the ed tech ones, that's what I would email you guys. It was a one pager I created in Canva. I downloaded it as a GIF. I would put that in the email, and then the GIF itself in the email was linked to the actual website or the actual newsletter that was published on our website. Well, that was one of the reasons that most of our newsletter stuff was posted on Google Sites, is because I can use a variety of things, different media there, and they don't get hampered the way that the PDFs do it. It's a good question. I do not know how to do the animations by picture. I'm positive you can, and I'm probably going to check out how to do that later when I can, because now I'm curious too. Does anybody have any other questions? I'm going to stop recording.